12:44 at 11:50 WHBY. The noontime interview. Robbie Johnson sitting in for Bob Salm today, and it feels like a Saturday because Kenny Kempfer.
You think so?
In studio with us from Fox Valley Technical College. Of course, Kenny is the host of, or one of the hosts, I guess, the main host of Under the Hood Saturday mornings here on WHBY. But in his real life, away from radio, he's also an instructor with the Automotive Technologies department, I guess, out at Fox Valley Technical College.
That is correct.
And you guys have partnered up with Pierce Manufacturing for one, and with me now from Pierce Manufacturing is Dan Bailey, who is your technical title here. It says Customer Service Field Technical Support Supervisor.
Yeah, that's one of the titles. But
many titles.
Many names that you've been called.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm gonna have all the external training at Pierce. So.
And I guess tell me a little bit about the partnership that you guys have between Pierce and Fox Valley Tech.
Well, over the past 5 years, we've built a real good partnership with Fox Valley Tech, Ken Kempfer, Sandy Eiler, Mark Evel, just a couple of the instructors that we use. They've filled a void that we have for some expertise in certain fields, bringing in new ideas for training and helping out in a lot of different ways.
Right. And I guess one of the things that I didn't realize till very recently when Kenny and I were talking is you guys have more than 30 dealers across the country that deal with service work and things like that.
Correct.
And so this whole partnership is kind of to enhance the network of dealers?
Correct. We have approximately 34 dealers across the U.S., which employs over 350 service technicians. In order to properly serve your customer, especially in the fire industry, where firefighters need to rely on their equipment, you must have properly trained service technicians. And what we do, Pierce, with the assistance of Fox Valley Tech, is we offer classes at our facility here in Appleton. We go out to Bradenton, Florida. We go to Las Vegas. And we also go to a customer's location, but we offer the training classes for our technicians out there because the only way you're going to get good support to the customer technically is to get training to the technician so he can in turn fix the vehicle promptly and get the truck back in service.
You really do need someone on site to take care of that. It's not like you can talk them through that over the phone.
Correct.
Not that easy when you come into a situation. What have you found with this partnership? Has it worked out pretty well, I'm assuming?
It's worked out great. One example of, just say Ken, for instance, how it benefits me is I had to send somebody to Japan to do some training for a customer in Japan, and in Japan, they didn't speak English, so I had to use an interpreter, or have an interpreter there. And now with Ken, he has prior experience using interpreters, knowing how to work with them, when to talk, when to stop, and basically get the information across better. So that was huge, especially when you're crossing bodies of water to do the training, to have somebody with that experience.
Now, Ken, you've talked about your trip to Japan, and you're doing one again soon, aren't you?
Well, we're looking right now. In fact, Dan and I were talking this morning. I will probably be spending either 2 weeks in Arizona in May or going back to Japan for 2 more weeks with another customer, different customer in Japan for possibly another 2 weeks. And working again with an interpreter. I believe the last time we were there was probably 2 years ago in May, that we had 23 Japanese technicians. And really, a lot of people don't realize that, and Dan is correct, that they see the plant, on 41 for the last 25 years. But then as I started working with them the last 6 years, somebody needs to take care of the warranty. And then Dan started talking to me a number of years ago. He says, you realize we do have the 35 dealerships, so we have a large responsibility to make sure that the dealership technicians are comfortable with the repair process. And over there in Japan, that's one of the things. We do have a dealership that works with Oshkosh Corporation, of course, as the parent company, and then they take care of the warranty work. So I actually had 3 dealership technicians in Japan getting comfortable with that repair process, too.
The Pierce trucks, the Oshkosh trucks, those things are more of a specialized type of vehicle. It's not like you can take really what you teach at the kids on the automotive repair side of things. Do you guys customize a plan for Pierce? And I guess what's the process of
Sure,
of doing that?
And as Dan, I've worked with Dan probably now the last 5 years. We continuously look at the curriculum. Right now, we're going to be delivering an air conditioning class next Friday in Florida. So Mark Evel and I will be meeting tomorrow. I gave him the PowerPoint a week ago. We are developing a student manual, and we're constantly trying to improve the curriculum as much as we can. With my background, with education background of how well it works in the classroom, and then how we can implement that in the hands-on training, because technicians still learn the best with hands-on activities and go through the process. So trying to motivate them in a one-day class, a 2-day class, and learn the product, but then also retain the knowledge that they can be very comfortable with that repair, even 6 months later. That's always the difficult part about it. You learn that process in class, but you may not see the issues until 6 months later. So it's very important to go back and look at the curriculum, read the material, and I try to tell the students that all the time, that the curriculum will not collect dust, that they need to pull that information off the shelves and then try to reread through that information. And Dan's been working very, very hard. At Fox Valley Technical College, we have what's called learning modules that he's probably developed well over 100 of them. So the technicians can actually go on to the Pierce website and log in with a dealer password and a user ID, and then they can go back and look at the learning modules and also review the stuff that we try to talk about in class, because it's just like anything else. If you were to teach me to use the board until I physically actually would deal with it all the time, it would be very difficult to learn that concept, until you actually work on with the hands-on activities and then go back to read information to try to remember what we previously talked about in class.
Sounds like you do a lot of this training, though.
I think Dan has me doing I do 3 basic classes right now. I do what's called a chassis electrical class, which is what we call relay logic trucks. I do a multiplex class, which is a 2-day multiplex and electronics class, and then I do an aerial maintenance class. Those are 3 primary classes that he has me do all the time. And then when I travel like abroad, or like we travel in different parts of the United States, he may have me stay there for 5 days, where I may do what's called a preventative maintenance class. They have what's called a TAC-4 suspension class that's on the trucks. SRP, their airbag systems. So instead of having him send out 2 trainers, he may have me go and do 3 different classes in a 5-day period of time, or even in a 2-week period of time, where we did probably 6 different classes in that 2-week period of time, with the groups of technicians.
Really quick, in just a couple minutes, less than a couple minutes that I've got, the whole learning environment with that. I mean, it's classroom, is it shop training? How does that break down?
That is pretty much both. We do a lot of classroom training, but it's important to, like Ken mentioned, once you see and listen to what the instructor is saying, to actually go out and do it. And we developed our classes with that principle in mind. And add one thing on to what Ken mentioned just recently. Next week we're going to have 4 Fox Valley Tech instructors with me in Bradenton, Florida, for our regional training out there, which contains 20 classes over the week, over 5 days. And we keep pretty busy there, but we'll have over 200 participants coming in from our dealerships, and also customers coming in for those training classes. And it makes for a busy week, but it's very beneficial to everybody.
Sounds like a great program. Sounds like a good partnership.
Absolutely.
And I think in reality, you've partnered with Kenny's wife to get him out of here.
Yeah. Well,
And she's much happier because of that.
Yeah, I get emails from her. Hey, can you send?
Can you
Ken
send him
out?
off to Florida again?
Yeah.
Kenny Kemper and Dan Bailey, you guys have a great afternoon. And it's good to talk to you. Kenny, I guess I'll get to see you on Saturday.
Okay, thanks, Robbie.
Lucky me. Forecast details are on the way next on 1150 WHBY.